What's going on, guys? Tom Costanza back with another YouTube video. Posting videos every single Sunday morning. Today, we are going to be attempting to make the best Italian bread on YouTube. I'm talking a nice long loaf of Italian bread with an extremely crispy crust and flaky texture. Let's get started. We have all of our ingredients set up. We have our all-purpose flour, our scale, our poolish, which if you want me to make a video on how to make poolish, let me know in the comments down below. We have our sea salt and of course our olive oil. First thing that I always like to do is we need to add about 200 milliliters of water to the poolish and detach it from the edges. Our next step is going to be adding 475 grams of all-purpose flour. Next is going to be 13 grams of sea salt and 13 grams of olive oil. Once we have all of our ingredients, mixing with a fork until everything comes together, then we'll take it out and knead it on the table. All right, we're pretty mixed together, so now we dump and continue to mix and knead. Very important when mixing dough for any type of bread or pizza that you're not adding any water or flour. It messes with the hydration and changes the texture of the dough. Okay, so right now after kneading it for probably about 5 to 10 minutes, we have our dough ball. However, it is not extremely smooth. And that's because we just beat the gluten up and it's not fully relaxed. So we need to just ball it up, tight ball, let it rest for 15 minutes, covered in saran wrap. What I like to do is put a little bit of olive oil in my hands and then just tap the dough. That way the saran wrap doesn't stick to the dough. Quick check-in after 15 minutes. We have our great smelling dough. It's a little bit relaxed now, or it's a lot of it relaxed now. All we're gonna do, take our pinkies, scoop underneath. Got a nice smooth surface on top now. Now we're gonna cover it again, let it rest for another hour, and check back in then. All right, everyone, we're back after an hour of letting the dough rise. As you can see, it is a lot bigger. Next thing we're gonna do is divide it into 6 equal pieces. Once we have our 6, make them into dough balls. Okay, now that we have our 6 dough balls, I'm really not sure what to do from here because I've never made Italian bread before. But we're going to try to roll them out into individual 6 loaves and go from there. So what I decided we're gonna do is we're gonna take some flour, lay some flour down, roll the loaf. I don't have a loaf tray, so I guess that's my downside, but just like this, right on the flour. So what I'm doing is I'm flipping the dough ball over, pressing all the air out, and then rolling it over itself tight. The thing that helps with the dough tray is it makes the dough grow up instead of out. Right now, since I don't have a dough tray, the bread's gonna be more out and wide instead of tall. So now that I have my 6 loaves, what I'm gonna do, I think, is cover them lightly for 30 minutes so that they re-proof a little bit and they gain a little bit of air. And then I'm gonna uncover them for another 30 minutes. Let the crust kind of dry a little bit to create a little bit of a crust. Preheat the oven to 450. And then what I'm gonna do is, well, you'll see what I'll do. But I'm gonna cover these and we'll just check back in an hour. Now, after 15 minutes, I think, we're going to remove the covering and let dry for another 30 minutes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. I don't know how much time has elapsed, but I'm getting pretty impatient. The loaves have definitely risen. There's not really a crust on top like I wanted, but we're gonna try it without the crust. So what I'm gonna do is use my dough scraper. We're gonna flip it upside down, score it, put it into the oven, and then maybe 15, 20 minutes, see what that looks like. We're gonna do 2 at a time, but I do need to score it, so come on over. Gonna put some flour down here, gonna flip it. It's got a good shape. Also very good shape. I'm very proud so far. Now we're gonna take our knife. Pretty big scores, and I learned that going faster is better. So let's put these in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have our 6 breads. We have these 2, which are just absolutely plain, nothing on them. These 2, which we put some olive oil and a little bit of salt. And then these 2, which I just did a little bit of butter, and they just came out, so they're burning hot still. We did make a olive oil and Italian seasoning mix that we're going to cut into one of the Italian breads and serve like that. The rest are going to be for lunch during the week. Now, we are going to use this bread to make a few slices and dip into the olive oil. But first, I want to show you this bread. Come on over. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now that I got my thumbnail out of the way, we are going to cut into one of these breads. But first, I would like to introduce a guest star who's going to be also doing a taste test. Chloe, come on. Say hello to the fans.
Hello, Tommy subscribers.
So we're gonna cut into a plain loaf of bread that has been well cooled now. It's a little bit warm. We're gonna cut into this because it's the least likely to be a sandwich. So let's move the rest out of the way and cut into this. Looks like some good bread. Nice doughy. It's got a good outer ring on it, which I like the nice outer rings. Okay, time to dive in.
That's good. I feel like it could have more crunch on the outside though.
I agree.
I think maybe the butter and the olive oil will give it like more flavor and more crunch. Still good. I like that.
So we cooked it at 450 for 20 minutes. I think what might help is cooking it at 500, just a higher temperature, maybe for a shorter period of time, just to develop a stronger crisp on the outside, but not drying out the inside. The inside is still very doughy, which is nice. It's just the outer crunch. It's less of a crunch and more of a hard outer shell. Very good flavor though, and I think it's gonna taste good on some cold cuts. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys made it to the end. Like the video, subscribe, share this with a friend. This is basically a pizza dough recipe that I just made into Italian bread. Very easy to do. If you guys have any questions when doing it, leave them in the comments down below. I respond to all of the comments at this point in time. Stay tuned for next week's video. Not sure what I'm going to be making yet, but every week's a surprise. So like the video and I will see you guys next Sunday.